Welcome everyone to Esalen Live. I'm Christine Chen, where we chat with change agents and speak to people who are at the top of their game in exploring potential and transformation. We're going to swim some pretty deep waters today. My guest is Banafsheh Sayyad. Hello, Banafsheh. Welcome.
Hello, Christine, and hello to everyone watching, joining us.
Thank you for making the time to be here. I'm so excited about this. You are a Persian master dance artist and transformational teacher who's been with Esalen faculty for about 13 years, presenting in some ways the Dance of Oneness, which is the sacred dance, weaving so many practices together. You'll explain that to us in a moment. From Sufi ritual to Middle Eastern dance to meditation, it sounds like an elixir. How are you doing during these times, Banafsheh? It's tough as a movement transformational leader to not be in rooms with people. So how are you doing?
How much time do we have? Christine, I feel myself like a scale. I experience myself as a scale, balancing conflicting states in these times that feel like a collective dark night of the soul. Sometimes it feels like a tomb, and other times a womb, out of which a new life seems to be emerging. And as it is a time of great reckoning and great awakening, it is when people are suffering a lot, as we all know, one way or another, everywhere there is suffering. And we're suffering from the ravages of human ideology and conduct that has led to catastrophic environmental degradation, pandemic being a result of it, and the natural disasters we're experiencing, along with the systemic racism and the drastic inequality and injustice in the US and elsewhere, in my country, in Iran, the injustice there. And the absolute corruption from the heads of the state, from Trump to the Islamic Republic of Iran, we're all burning in some way or another, even if we haven't been literally in the fires of the West Coast where I live. And I want to send love and blessings and wish for safety and shelter of all of those who have been in the fires and the firefighters who've been so courageously, heroically battling them. And we've all been blown about by wind and we've been flooded in some way or another, even if we haven't been in the hurricanes that have ravaged recently different parts of the world. And blessings and love, safety and shelter to those who have experienced them. And we've all contracted COVID, even if we are not literally sick and the virus and are not dying from the virus, like so many of us have, and so many of us who've lost loved ones. And I want to send blessings and love and swift and complete healing to those who are literally suffering and solace to those who have lost loved ones. So in this time, I spend a lot of my time in reflection, but also in nurturing and nourishing and uplifting the community that I have. And by uplifting them, I myself am uplifted.
What have
So,
you noticed, Banafsheh, what have you noticed about the state of people's spirituality during this time for all the reasons that you just shared?
well, I feel like people are really asking themselves, who am I? Who have I been? And who do I want to be? And what do I want to dedicate to? So people are really asking existential questions, important questions, questions that will create transformation for each and every one of us, and that we need to attend to. It's people around me, including myself, we feel like it's showtime. It's showtime, and we are we are beckoned to put into practice whatever we've developed, whatever we've dedicated to, and whatever we've developed and harnessed as individuals, as citizens of the world. And for myself, as a lover of life, it's like, what are my gifts in this time, and how can I serve from my gifts? Is what I hear from a lot of people around me. And so when we come together as a community, we're inspiring each other to remember, to really attend to the gifts and not be overwhelmed by the chaos that's around us, because we are the ones who need to keep the balance.
Mm. One of the things that I know that you've shared with so many is your Dance of Oneness, which you created. It comes from so many disciplines. One, how did you create it? And two, would you share with us what it is?
But the way I created it was that I just sort of looked at my all of my training and all of my experiences, and as I was being asked to share my work with people, because I was mostly a performer and a choreographer. When audience members asked me to share the work and to teach them, I really asked myself, well, what is it that I can teach? And so I decided to bring together all of what I had learned and what has been important to me, and then sort of receive this guidance that the name would be Dance of Oneness, a
Mm,
way to bring ourselves into oneness within ourselves, our fragmentation, to bring it all into a cohesiveness and to come into a coherence with others and the whole of existence. So that's how it came about.
mm.
And yes, you asked
And
me.
how, how do we move? How do we move in the Dance of Oneness? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. What does movement do to our bodies and our spirits to help us in healing, transformation, really investigating our unlimited potential? Because for me, and we've chatted about this a little bit, like I can't really help but move, and I know neither can you. What is that in the Dance of Oneness and our own healing path?
It's a great question. You know, movement, what movement teaches us, and especially dance, what dance teaches us is how to be flexible and adaptable, and not be sort of bogged down and overwhelmed with things. When you keep moving, it's almost like you're opening up chains and opening up ropes that keep you maybe in limitation and keep you closed. So when you move, you also recognize that in every moment there's a new possibility, that I don't have to stick to what I have been, but I can keep reinventing myself. So, and dance, what dance brings us specifically is the way we balance polarities in dance. You know, when you go to the left and then you go to the right, you can't go up if you don't go down. If you lightness comes from really sensing gravity. So dance brings together polarities in a way that's exciting and exhilarating, and it's beautiful. It's about creating art. And the other thing that's very important with dance, and what I really encourage people, my students, to engage in, is how to dance all of the emotions that pass through us, and not to say, okay, dance is only an expression of one way of being. You can bring all of your emotions to dance. You can bring fear and anger and worry, and through the movement, transform them into different kinds of emotions that are more expansive and more liberating.
Hmm. But because you can't really help but in the movement, in the dance, you do end up moving on to the next thing, right? And each motion, each transition is a transformation. This is how I think of it anyway, but is that what's in the Dance of Oneness? It's baked in.
I love that. Yes, I totally agree with that. It's you keep moving, you keep moving. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed, and you become resilient with the fact, with the truth that everything is changing. You become
Mhm.
resilient. You understand that in your very cells, and your very in all of your emotions and thoughts. You get it.
I want to get us moving a little bit, but just before that, could you break down the components of the Dance of Oneness? We mentioned it's from Sufi mysticism to meditation to Middle Eastern dance. Can you share with us the ingredients of the Dance of Oneness?
Sure. The Dance of Oneness operates in three dimensions. I describe it as a spiritual dance, as a spiritual practice and a science of embodiment. And the way that works is the dimensions that are fused together. One is movement and dance technique that I draw from Tai Chi and from flamenco, Persian dance, and Middle Eastern tribal dances and Sufi whirling. In the whirling, all of these different components come together. I feel like each of these forms awaken and develop a different aspect of ourselves. Another dimension of the Dance of Oneness is wisdom teachings, and I draw from the Sufi tradition as well as the Taoist tradition and the divine feminine tradition. I also incorporate the findings of new physics, the unified field, in a way that is, of course, for lay people like myself as well. So incorporating these together already to embody these teachings, which is my purpose in even bringing them into the dance, by embodying them, by dancing them, by finding the truth of as above, so below, exploring how all of these wisdom teachings can be found in the body. That in itself is healing. But then I also bring in a component, the healing component that is drawn from Chinese medicine, which is my background as well. I'm a practitioner of Chinese medicine. So I bring in the awareness of the flow of energy in the meridians, and the movements are very much aligned with the flow of energy. I also bring in the chakra system. So that's the healing component. So these three dimensions come together to form this dance. That's the aim of it, being to become fully embodied humans.
It sounds very whole and very intoxicating. And I know that in this format, and we will be working to create some new things from Esalen that allow more movement and more kinds of arts to explore fully and with different cameras and so forth. But right now, in this format of Zoom, are there some small things that are maybe ingredients or pieces of the Dance of Oneness that you can share with us first so we can experience? And then we can talk about it afterward about what that was. Would you mind?
No, no, and mentioning Esalen, I look forward to being back at Esalen. This year we had to shape shift what I was going to do at Esalen with my dear friend Tony Khalifa, who is a musician. We shape shifted it into an online offering that I couldn't include him, but I look forward to being back at Esalen, and before that to do online presentations together with live
Yeah.
music. But now, just the way we're all just sitting here, I think let's loosen up our shoulders, roll our shoulders back, and flow with your breath as you're rolling, inhaling from your nose, exhaling from your mouth. Now go with one shoulder at a time and keep flowing with your breath. Good. And loosen up your neck now. Bring your shoulders to stillness. Gently loosen up your neck. And your hands, now bring your hands into it, bring your head to a stillness, rotate your wrists. Good. And change direction, go to the other side. Good, good, good. And can we now bring our hands together, interlace our fingers together, and bring your arms up above your head, bring your shoulders up to your ears. Take a breath in through your nose and exhale the arms down. Now bring your shoulders up and go down. Inhale up, exhale down. Good. And quicker with and bring your shoulders to stillness. One more time, bring your fingers together, interlace them. Bring your hands up like this and then turn them so that your palms go up towards the ceiling. Bring your shoulders up to your ears. Take a breath in And exhale your arms down. Good. Let's take our head to the side again and the other side. And interlace your fingers one more time. Put them behind your head and look down.
And if you're at home watching right now, please join us.
Breathing in the back of your neck. And now look forward and sense your head. Bring the tips of your fingers on your scalp and sense the side of your head and your neck. Put your fingers into your neck, just a little pressure, and on your shoulders, pressure into your shoulders with the tips of your fingers. And then come down your torso, sides, your hands by your sides, and go down your torso to your hips and open your hands. Yes. Is there a little bit more time
I think I want
to
to just ask you what that was. Can would you mind just, not to try and overanalyze, but just the idea of like trying to understand, A, what that was, and then what is just a little bit of movement like that? What does that do to our physical selves that then maybe taps into something inside, that potential, that limitless self, the divineness of the one being you are?
Well, that was really more like a preparation to come in touch with our body, really.
Oh, I
So,
felt like that could be the whole thing. I was just
but we just touched the top of our head, but to touch your face, for example, would be so nice. I mean, so many of us are, in lockdown all by ourselves, touching our neck, touching our chest, and so many of us, at least people telling me and myself included, we don't get to touch each other as much. So to touch yourself, to bring in the healing touch is so important. It's so important and so valuable. So you can also do, of course, acupressure on particular points. But even just a simple touch, I think, can be so relaxing and so grounding.
Why is it then so transformative? Because even in that short amount of time, I definitely felt a shift in how I felt, how I was breathing, um, connection to the present moment. I definitely felt all those things. Like, what is it about the way the dance of oneness and its combination of sources brings you into that? And of course, I know there's more, and we all know there's much, much more.
Yes. So one key point of what you said is the breathing, is coming in touch with our breath and taking deep breaths. When we're just in our daily lives and we're not paying attention, our breath is very shallow, and it keeps our energy lifted up in the upper part of our body, and especially in our head. When we're listening to each other or when we're using words, we're very much in our heads. And that, for me, the capacity that is in your head versus the capacity of being in your whole body, filling up the volume of your whole body, is so small. The capacity of our head, it just shows you how quicker you can become overwhelmed by what is going on around you, around us, if we're just in our heads with the smaller capacity.
How has this practice helped you tap into your potential as a human being?
Well, for that, I have many answers to that, but most importantly, first of all, the movements really work. They really work. They work in grounding, centering, opening, and sensing yourself as unlimited. They really work. The other way that it has helped me realize my potential is that by sharing it, I feel like I'm uplifted. I feel like
Mm,
I am myself receiving what I'm giving. And in receiving what I've given, I feel more in touch with my own abilities and my own potential. The
Mm.
more you share your gifts, Christina, I'm sure you know this, the more you share your gifts authentically and from a place of really wanting to help and be of service, the more you receive the benefits of that.
It's such a beautiful reminder. I think that intrinsically we all know that, but there are times like now that are so challenging that we might be off the path slightly. So thank you so much for that reminder. I do want to ask you one last question here, which is you off the top when we just started talking, it is so much right now. It is so much. Is there a way, and I'm just asking, and you might not have an answer to this, but is there anything right now that's still bringing you a sense of awe?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Just sitting here and speaking with you, I'm filled with awe of the technology that can bring us together. That the gift of we may not have had this conversation or even had a connection if all of this hadn't happened, if
Hmm.
this situation wasn't the way it is. So I'm in awe of how life works. You know, we when my complaining and my moaning is quieted down a little bit, then I can see that, oh wow, things are happening for a purpose, for a higher purpose. And if we can still that voice that just keeps wanting more and wants things to work out right now, then then there's more of a quiet, a stillness and a silence when we can listen and hear that there is a bigger purpose. There is a design.
There's a sense of allowing. I have had many people share that word, allowing, lately more than ever before. Banafsheh Sayyad, it has been a true pleasure to experience your wisdom and your craft. I know we did just a few small movements, the warm up, but if those of us who want to take your class online and experience the full dance of oneness on a regular basis, I'll be putting, and I think I might have already done this, put your website in the post attached to this video, and then people can contact you. Is that all right?
Thank you so much, Christine. Yes, people are welcome to join the current immersion we're in. It has started already, but because there's a replay, videos are available to follow from the sessions that have already happened.
Yeah. Some way, somehow, we will meet. I feel very, very sure of that. Banafsheh Syed, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Thank you to everyone.